What's going on, guys? I'm Adam from Boost Auto, and today we're going to be showing you how to install our 08 to 16 Super Duty cab lights on your 08 to 16 Super Duty truck that didn't originally have cab lights. So let's get into it.
Introducing our S-Series Cab Lights by Boost Auto. Offered with a wide variety of customizable options, these cab lights are sure to set your build apart from the rest, enhance visibility, and add a premium touch to your vehicle's appearance with our exclusive features. Light up the night with Boost Auto's crisp white or sleek amber running lights that will leave your build looking sharp. You can also option for our jaw-dropping startup sequence, adding personality to your vehicle from the moment you turn the key. Plus, we've developed groundbreaking technology with our S-Series module that enables turn signal functionality without the need to run extra wires up to the cab lights. Get them in a standard flashing signal or option for the more premium sequential signal where the lights swipe instead of flash. The best part is, both styles are available in switchback, so they'll fit right in with the rest of the Boost Auto products on your truck. Our S-Series Cab Lights' innovative construction means you'll get a watertight seal without the need for adhesives or sealants. Plus, with our precision engineering, our cab lights will fit flush perfectly, matching the curvature of your vehicle's roof. Couple things to note before we get into the install. First, the procedure outlined in this video is for 08 to 16 Ford Super Duty trucks that did not originally come with factory cab lights. If your vehicle did come with cab lights and you're looking to upgrade, or your vehicle is a different year range, head on over to boostauto.com for the latest in fitment and availability and to purchase all we have to offer. Let's get into it.
We're going to disconnect the battery here in just a second, but before you do that, if you have a sunroof, go ahead and roll that all the way back and put your front seats all the way back. Then let's disconnect the battery. Using the 8mm socket, disconnect the negative terminal on your battery. If you have an auxiliary battery, make sure you disconnect that one too. We've got our template laid out here for this truck. Our template's unique in that it splits into 3 separate sections. So we'll start by cutting along these lines here to split it into 3 separate sections. Now that we have them cut into smaller, more manageable pieces, we'll cut along the lines here so we can get our individual templates to lay on the roof. All right, now that we've got our templates cut out, I'm gonna pass it over to Chuck, who's gonna rip apart the interior, show you exactly how that's done, and then we'll be back to show you how to install these templates onto the roof so we can make sure you drill right the first time.
We're on the passenger side of the vehicle. We're going to start by removing the roof bin. Now your vehicle may have a different roof console than this based on different options, but steps for removal remain the same. You're going to try and work your fingers in until it pops, and then you're going to work your way around until it comes down. And then unplug your connectors. All right, now we're going to be removing our roof console support. It's 2 Phillips heads, and we're going to be doing this so we can guide our connectors out later down the line. Now we're going to peel off our weather stripping. Make sure to pull it off around the headliner and the A-pillar. Now at our A-pillar, using a pick tool, pop out the bolt covers. Take your 7mm socket and pop out the 2 bolts. These bolts are captured, which means that they're not actually going to come out when you start loosening. So you'll notice that once this panel starts to back itself out, those bolts are no longer in place. Make sure to guide your base and remove the panel. Now, we're going to be removing the A-pillar on the driver's side. Since we're on the driver's side of the vehicle, let's take off our sun visor. It's the T20. We're taking off the base and the support. Now, remove the sun visor assembly with the same manner on the other side. All right, now with that last step, your headliner should be ready to release. We have a sunroof. If you have one of these, you're gonna have some Velcro strips you're gonna have to release. Now that we've dropped our headliner, we can undo our sun visor connector. Follow the harness from your sun visors up to here, trace your wire and find this connector. Using a pick tool, depress this tab. We're going to repeat the same steps on the other side.
All right, up here on the roof, I just have a loose tape measure. If you have another person, that'll be helpful, or like in my case, I just tape down the other end. You just want to string it across the roof, get a measurement here so you know what the full length of the roof is. Because what we want to do is we want to find the center point of the roof. So you find the total distance, then you want to come up and find the center point. Now on this particular Super Duty, we actually have a little bit of help. There's actually a center point line on this windshield here. And so what we're gonna do is we're gonna lay down a piece of tape kind of right here, right up onto the windowsill. And then we're gonna take a pen, measure out the exact center point. And again, I have this to help me, and we're just gonna mark it. That's gonna help us line up our center template. We've got our center piece of the template here already cut out. We'll bring that up to the roof. This arrow here is to line up the center point. So we're gonna take the template here and line that arrow right up with the center point of the windshield. You can see the template is designed to curve to the roof here. So once we have it lined up, we'll just take some painter's tape, tape this thing down real good. We do not want it to move at all. Got our driver's side template here. Again, lining up the arrow at the front of the windshield. This side is designed to interface over here towards the door. So we'll just line that template up, and then we'll apply our painter's tape to secure it down. Over here on the passenger side, again, taking the arrow and lining it up with the front windshield, using the side here to kind of square it up and securing it down. This is going to be a multi-part process. We want to make sure we absolutely get this right. So we're actually going to start by using a center punch. So there's a number of holes that you're going to need to drill on your roof. We're going to end up drilling 1/8" pilot holes with all of them with the template on, but we're going to start with the center punch just to make sure our pilot lands exactly where we need it. So like in this case, I'm going to get my center punch right lined up here. Just press down on it. We're going to do that for all of these holes here. And now that I have my center punch done, I'm gonna go ahead and center punch the rest of the roof. Then I'm gonna come back and drill 1/8" pilot holes across every single hole on the roof.
Once all the 1/8" pilot holes are drilled, you can peel off the templates.
To protect the roof of your vehicle, before we actually come in with the bigger drill bits, we're gonna take some painter's tape and just go over the general area. That way, none of the metal shards or anything cut into the paint. So we'll actually tape over the holes. And then if you want, you can kind of just put a little bit more tape off to the sides. Again, just trying to protect the roof. I'm gonna repeat this across the entire roof, and we'll be right back with you. All right, we're back up here on the roof. We've got it taped off to protect the paint. What I like to do first is just find the holes that you drilled and kind of use a little pen or something just to kind of poke them out. That way you know exactly where they are. All right, now that we have those poked out, again, it just kind of gives you your placement. We're gonna be drilling holes. So this is really important. There's different size holes. The sizes are the same across the roof, but within each light, there's a different size hole. Take these 2 outer holes, drill them to 1/4 inch. For this inner hole, it needs to be a little bit bigger just to clear the connector. So we're gonna drill a 1-inch hole with a step bit. All right, now that we've got all our holes drilled, we're gonna remove the tape from the roof, make sure we clean up all the metal shavings, and then we can proceed to mounting the cab lights. All right, now before we install our S-Series cab lights, we want to make absolutely certain that the roof is totally clear of any debris, anything like that, dirt. We want to make sure that the gasket can clamp down good. So we just have a little bit of cleaning solution. Just going to clean the surface where the cab lights are going to be mounted. We're going to work our way across the entire roof, just making sure that mounting surface is perfectly clear of any dirt or debris. All right, now it's time to install our S-Series cab lights on our truck. Opening up the box, I want to note out that these cab lights are numbered, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These have a very specific position on the roof. So we're gonna start with cab light number 1. On the bottom side, you'll actually see they're numbered right here as well. Cab light 1 is going to go on the far passenger side of the vehicle. You're then going to work your way across the vehicle, 2, 3, 4, 5. Cab light 5 will be all the way on the driver's side. All right, we're back up here on the roof. We've got cab light number 1. We're all the way over on the passenger side. If you flip it over, there's gonna be 2 8mm nuts on the bottom side. We will remove those, as those will obviously need to go under the roof. And take it, again, already cleaned our surface. We're just gonna line the holes up and drop the cab light right in. Now we're gonna hit the underside and secure it down. All right, guys, you saw I just hand threaded those down, just spinning them in. We are gonna come back. We have a 1/4" ratchet with an 8mm socket on it. We're just gonna snug these up. Do not go too hard with these. They do not need to be over torqued. 1/4" ratchet, barely hand snug. That'll do the job. Let's get into it. All right, I've got cab light number 1 here on the passenger side. I'm gonna work my way across the roof, install them 2, 3, 4, 5. Same process all the way across the roof, so not gonna show up, pretty straightforward. I'm gonna get that done. I'll be right back with you. All right, guys, it's time to get into the wiring. Our retrofit cab lights come with all the wiring necessary to get them integrated into the vehicle. We're gonna start with the actual retrofit harness. It has these 5 black connectors on them. Those are going to go and plug into the cab lights themselves. We're gonna lay this out the farthest end, the farthest black wire. We're gonna start by laying this out on the passenger side, running it over to the driver's side. The long end of the wire is gonna end up on the driver's side, so let's get under the headliner and show you how this is done. All right, guys, it's time to bring our retrofit harness down the A-pillar here. You can see we do have an airbag here, so we need to follow the factory wire routing very closely. There's this plastic wire guide. The factory wires are all taped into here. So we're gonna take the end of our harness and just feed it all the way from the top of the plastic wire guide through the harness. Just make sure those wires stay in the guide. We'll feed it all the way down to the bottom and pull the wires out at the bottom. All right, the last thing we're gonna do, we're gonna make sure we tie the wires up to the factory harness. Again, we have an airbag here. We wanna make sure we stay clear of that. So the way we can do that is just place some zip ties along this harness. Make sure the wire harness is all tied up underneath the headliner. So we'll just do that now. All right, guys, it's time to remove this trim piece right here. We're gonna be using a plastic trim tool. If you don't have a set of these, we do have them available on our website. You absolutely wanna use this to make sure you're not marring up any of the plastic. We're gonna use our plastic trim tool. Just pop behind the side here, pry out, and this piece can be removed. And take the end of the wire, and we're gonna pass it straight on down to the kick panel area. Just pass the wire straight through, and pull the slack on down. Now that we've got that wire routed, we'll put this trim piece back in, kind of slide it like that, so it snaps in, line up all the clips and snap it into place. All right, it's time to get this wiring harness through the firewall so we can pick up running light and our other functions. Here we've got a straightened out metal coat hanger, so any firm piece of metal will work. We're just gonna take the end of the wire harness and tape the end of it to the straightened out metal piece. So we have a little bit of a wire guide to route it through the firewall. All right, it's time to pass this wire through the firewall. You can see there's a grommet right here. This customer already has a couple wires passed through. If you don't, just guide that wire through. You may need to poke a small slit. Just pass the wire straight on through to the other side.
Make sure to tie the wire harness up under the kick panel to make sure it stays totally free of the pedals.
All right, now that we've got our wiring harness in the underhood, we're gonna route it up towards the driver's side headlight. So you just wanna make sure you're routing it free of any heat or moving components. Not any particular one way you need to do this. I'm just gonna bring it up to the driver's side headlight. All right, now we need to remove the headlights. If you have an 08 to 10 truck, when you open your hood, your grille probably came with it, so you don't need to remove your grille. If you have an 11 or newer Super Duty, you can see the grille is sticking down here. We need to remove that grille so we can get access to the headlights. I'm gonna pass it over to Chuck. Chuck's gonna show you exactly how to get access to your headlights.
You're gonna have 4 10mm bolts on the top of the grille. We're gonna go ahead and remove those now. Now with our 4 bolts removed, we can go ahead and tilt our grill back and release the 5 tabs that are holding it in place. So here's a better view of where your tabs are going to be on the grill. There's 5 slots here, and what you're going to do is you're going to stick your screwdriver in there, then push down and it'll disengage the tabs. We can go ahead and start removing our headlight. You're going to have 4 bolts holding your headlight in. 1 at the top, 2 on the side, and then 1 in the bottom right there. Let's get into it. Now that we've removed our headlight, we can go ahead and disconnect everything on the back of the headlight. We're going to be interested in this connector, but for tapping purposes, we're going to disconnect everything and set this aside.
All right, guys, this next section is going to be if you optioned your cab lights out as running light only. That means we're only going to need to tap at the driver's side headlight. We're going to show you how to do that now. If you option for cab lights with the smart ECU, so that's with the turn signal functionality, we're going to get in that in just a second. So just ignore this section about running light only. Okay, we're going to start by tapping pin 1 and pin 2. With the connector tab on top, pin 1 is going to be located in the top and pin 2 is going to be the second down. We're going to follow those wires a little back, and then we're going to tap the corresponding wire. You're going to place the wires into the jaw of the red T-tap and fold it over until it latches. If needed, you can use some pliers to help squeeze it down. We're going to cut the harness to length, so we'll cut that right here. We'll place the extra slack off to the side. We won't be using that. Then we'll use a pair of scissors to just cut this tape back so we can get access to the wires. All right, once we have that tape pulled back, we need to strip both wires, so the brown and green wire. And the brown wire is going to get installed onto the fuse. So we're going to take our fuse, place the brown wire into the butt connector, and crimp it down. Then for the green wire, we'll just grab one of the disconnects from our kit, place the green wire into the disconnect, and crimp that down. Using a heat gun, we'll heat shrink the butt connector. Hook the fuse disconnect up to the wire at pin 2. And then hook the other wire, the green wire, up to the wire at pin 1. All right, for those of you gaining turn signals, it's time to install your S-Series module. So with your S-Series module is going to come this wiring kit. We want to start by opening it up, and there's a wiring harness with a red and black wire. We're going to start with installing that. So locate that from the kit and let's get into it. On this S-Series module, there's going to be a side with 2 black connectors. One's a 4-pin connector, the other's a 2-pin. Locate the red and black harness that has a 2-pin connector and simply plug it in to the S-Series module. Okay? You're going to want to get some of the length of the red and black wires up. We're going to end up running this up towards the battery, so we'll do that now. We're going to take this red wire and black wire and route it up towards the battery. Just find your wires. Make sure you're clear of any heat or moving components. Pull all our slack through. We're going to end up cutting most of this slack off. Okay, and this red wire is going to be coming to this battery right here. So we'll just kind of get an idea for where that's going to go. Cut the wire, take the excess, we won't be needing that. Then we'll strip the end of both wires. For the red wire, we're going to be installing it into the provided fuse. So place the stripped end of the wire into the butt connector, then crimp it down. Then on the other end of the fuse, we'll strip the end of the wire. And on the other end, we will install this ring terminal. Using the 8mm socket, remove the positive battery terminal. If you have anything else hooked up to your battery, make sure that stays there. And then bring your ring terminal, place it there, and reinstall the nut, as well as the lock washer if you have one. Once you get it started, holding the bolt, you can just tighten everything back up. Then reinstall the cover. You can just do some wire management and clean up and tie up the wires free of any heat or moving components. All right guys, now that we got our power wire hooked up to the positive terminal of the battery, we're gonna do it the same with the ground. So I've already brought this up. We're gonna be coming to the negative terminal. I've cut it to length. I'm now going to strip the end of it. Then I'm gonna place the provided ring terminal onto the black wire and crimp it down. Lastly, we do need to get it connected to the negative terminal here. Remember, this is loosened from earlier in the procedure. Now, we need to actually totally remove the rest of the nut. So we'll do that with the 8mm. Once that's loose, we will take the ring terminal with the ground slug on it, place it onto the bolt, and re-secure the nut. We'll just put this on about halfway for now. This will get totally snugged down when we reconnect the negative battery terminal. So just have that on there loose now. And then whenever we reconnect the negative battery terminal, we'll just kind of fold this over and tuck the wires up the rest of the way. Now we're going to be tapping to this brown park lamp connector. We're going to be tapping to connector pin 2 and 3. If you're looking at this with the connector tab on top, pin 2 is the second down and pin 3 is the third down. So we're going to follow those wires a little further back, and we're going to install a red T-tap onto each of them. So locate the wires in pin 2 and 3. You want to place them into the jaws of the T-tap, fold them over until they latch. If needed, you can use some pliers to help squeeze the wires down. Locate the 4-pin extension harness with the orange, red and blue, and red and green wires. We're going to be plugging that into our S-Series module. So there's a 4-pin connector. We'll plug that in right here. The orange and red and blue wires are going to get tapped right here. So you can cut those wires very short. The red and green you need to take out of the loom because we're going to be bringing that over to the other side. So at this time, what I'm going to do is just pull some of this slack out, and I'm going to take the orange and red and blue wires, and I'm going to cut them out of this loom. That is the full length of wire that we'll need for orange and red and blue. For red and green, we're going to take that out of this loom so we can bring it over to the passenger side. Now that we've got our orange and red and blue cut down to length, we're going to strip the ends of both of these back. Then we're going to install a spade connector onto the end of each of them. Now we'll plug these into the corresponding T-tap. The orange wire for running light plugs into the wire from pin 2. And the red and blue wire, which is going to be for turn signal, taps to pin 3. Now we'll hook up our retrofit harness to our S-Series module. The brown wire from the S-Series Retrofit harness is going to hook up to the blue wire on the module. So we'll strip the end of the brown wire back now that we've cut the tape back. We'll strip the green wire at the same time. And for the brown wire, we're going to connect that to the blue wire on the S-Series module. And for the green wire, we'll place it to the black wire. Now we'll heat shrink the butt connector. Last thing we need to do before we can start the reinstallation, this red wire with the green tracer, that's got to go over to the passenger side headlight. That's going to be tapping to pin 3, just like the red and blue wire was on the driver's side. So I'm going to pass that over, do that. The install is the exact same as the driver's side, just with the red and green wire. So we're not going to show it on camera, but tap it to pin 3, and we'll be right back with you. At this point, we'll reinstall our headlight, bring that into position. We'll start by twisting the bulbs into their respective sockets. Then we obviously do have a little bit more wiring back here with this smart ECU. We're just going to kind of tuck that back right into this cavity here. You can use some zip ties to kind of secure it up out of the way. Once you have it secured, bring your headlight back into position. Make sure you line up the tabs here. Now I'm going to pass it back over to Chuck to show you the rest of the way to install this headlight as well as the grille, and then I'll be right back with you.
Make sure to line up the clip in the back. Now we're going to go ahead and install our 4 10mm bolts on the headlight, starting at the top. Now reinstall your passenger headlight the same way. So now we're reinstalling the grille. We're going to loosely line up our clips on the bottom and then set them up on the top. And once we're up on the top in the proper orientation, we're going to push our clips at the bottom in. Now we're going to reinstall our 4 10mm bolts that hold the grille in place. All right guys, we're gonna show you how to reinstall the headliner on the passenger side. First, we're gonna start with the sun visor. As the connector is located above the headliner, we're gonna wanna put that in there before we start bolting the headliner back up. On your sun visor, if your wire popped out of your retainer, we're gonna wanna make sure we reinsert that into the retainer before we go and reinstall our sun visor. Now we're gonna feed our wire through our opening in our headliner. We're gonna click it into place. Let's set our sun visor aside and repeat this action on the other side. All right, now while I'm here, I'm just gonna reinstall the 2 screws on the base of the sun visor. All right guys, I'm back on the passenger side of the vehicle. At this time, we're gonna fully install our sun visor assembly. Now we're going to install our roof console support as well as the roof console itself. Still on the passenger side, there's one thing we have left to do. We have to reinstall our weather stripping. Now go ahead and repeat the same steps on the driver's side.
Last, we'll reconnect the negative terminal of the battery or batteries with an 8mm socket. All right guys, that wraps up the installation of our S-Series cab lights for your 08 to 16 Super Duty truck. If you'd like to pick up a set of those S-Series cab lights or any of the other parts we offer, like these mirror lights, check them out at boostauto.com. That's all for now. We'll catch you in the next one.
The products shown in this video and so much more can be purchased on our website at boostauto.com. We're proud to offer a wide selection of products, parts, and accessories for your truck or SUV to take your build to the next level. To watch more videos like this one and to find out about our newest innovative products for your vehicle, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's all for now. We'll catch you in the next one.